Compared to humans, dogs live pretty simple lives. In between meals, they run around outside, sleep, and get their bellies rubbed. Yet somehow, humans find ways to connect with canines at a spiritual level. It's an important bond.
Before we begin, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
When dogs get older, that's when they need humans the most. Their senior years should be quiet and peaceful, but not every dog is so lucky. For the most part, life for the black Labrador, once called Ma Kettle, below, started out pretty well. She grew old and fat thanks to her loving owner. But then, in 2012, her owner died. Sadly, not a single relative or loved one wanted Ma Kettle. In fact, only one person offered the lonely dog a home: Kelsey Lloyd, director of the Chautauqua County Animal Shelter in Sedan, Kansas. There, she waited, until a Sedan family adopted her. They called her Pepper, the first of 2 eventual name changes, and brought her home to be part of their family. But from the start, Pepper didn't exactly fit in. Pepper scared the family's smaller dogs, so they had to give her to a friend in Independence, Kansas, after only a year and a half. Would this be the happy home where Pepper could live out her remaining days? Pepper struggled to adapt to a life without her first owner. In 2016, she ran away from Independence and wandered 30 miles back to Sedan, back to the shelter. Neither family reclaimed her. But it was during her second stay at the shelter that the pooch finally caught a break. A visitor named Cindy Barkley Powell, below, touched by the lab story, posted photos of her to various animal rescue social media pages. "Is there anyone out there who can give this girl a home?" she wrote. She may not have many years left. One of those posts made its way to Cheryl Hanna, below, a freelance writer for the National Pet Rescue Examiner. Cheryl saw the below picture of then-named Pepper and knew she had to share the dog's story. She wrote up an article that earned over 1 million views, including one well-connected reader. On July 30, 2014, author and dog lover Helen Rich read Hannah's article while vacationing in Hawaii. And while you might not know her name, you would definitely know her grandfather. Helen is the granddaughter of chewing gum magnate William Wrigley Jr., below. Set to inherit a large chunk of his fortune, the connected, but still self-made, woman set her eyes on the celebrity dog she'd read about. Pepper, Helen knew, would fit right in at her 120-acre Florida estate. After all, she owned 7 rescue dogs and cared for dozens more through her rescue organization, On the Wings of an Angel. So, Helen sent her personal assistants from Florida to Kansas on her private jet with a single mission: bring Pepper home. 2.5 hours later, they landed, and not long after, they reached the shelter. At the shelter, there was little fanfare or rigmarole. The assistants adopted Pepper and returned to the airport. On the way home, Pepper watched Kansas disappear from the window of the rising jet. Pepper was finally going to someone that wanted her, someone that needed her. Helen didn't just adopt the dog to have a celebrity in her midst. The true reason was much deeper than that. "I've had a tough life. Just because I have a family name, it doesn't mean diddly," she said. Indeed, like so many others, rich, poor, and in between, Helen, below, endured a rough childhood and feelings of inadequacy. Worse, Helen twice survived breast cancer. "There's no doubting that she's a fighter. I've had to survive and endure and walk a long, long way like Pepper," she said. She endured. I endured. Her story resonated with me. When Pepper and Helen finally met, the moment was magic. The 2 souls bonded by hardship shared a love connection right away. Helen couldn't help but share photos online. As the old dog grew into her a new home, Helen gave her a new name, her 3rd in 2 years. Helen called her Lady, and undoubtedly, the sweet girl felt like one while living on this sunny Florida estate. But just how good was life for Lady? Well, besides all the Florida sun, farm grass, and the 7 playful siblings, Helen reported another detail of her dog's new life to Kelsey Lloyd, the shelter director. "Between all the maids and the butlers," Kelsey said, "she's being pet constantly. It looks like the old girl finally found a place to be loved and wanted."
If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds.
Animal intuition is one of the strongest forces on Earth. Not only are animals incredibly in tune with the world around them, but their natural instincts allow them to make quick decisions in pressing situations. While some applications of this intuition may seem trivial at times, it's during dangerous situations that this trait proves to be the most useful. When a California woman's dog was acting strangely after being put outside for the night, she assumed that the dog was just bitter over being made to sleep in the yard. Little did she know that he was upset for one very important reason. When Nana Chichanda of Stockton, California brought a baby pit bull named Sasha into her home, she initially had reservations. With her 7-month-old daughter Masaila also in the house, Nana was nervous about how the dog would behave around her baby girl. But Nana was convinced that, with the proper training, Sasha would grow to be the perfect playmate for Masaila. As it turns out, Nana's intuition was completely right. With each passing day, the bond between Sasha and Masaila grew until the two became inseparable. In fact, Sasha was so protective of Masaila that the dog wouldn't even let her take a bubble bath alone. Now that Sasha had officially become part of the family, it wasn't uncommon to find her snuggled up in bed alongside Nana and Masaila. But one fateful night, Nana decided to do things differently. On June 6, 2018, Nana decided to let Sasha sleep outside in the backyard. Being that it was a warm summer's night, Nana figured that the dog would enjoy getting out of the stuffy apartment and into the fresh air. Soon after putting Sasha outside, Nana took Masaila to their bedroom and the pair was asleep within minutes. But it wasn't long before Nana was stirred awake by an unexpected sound, a dog barking. At first, Nana wrote off the barking as that of a neighbor's dog. After all, Sasha had never been one to bark, especially as loud as the dog outside. But as the frantic barking continued, Nana knew that something was wrong. She hurried downstairs and threw open the back door, where her fears were confirmed. Even when she was back inside the house, Sasha still wouldn't calm down. It was like she was desperate to get Nana's attention at all costs. When that didn't work, Sasha tried another tactic. Suddenly, the dog made a mad dash for the upstairs bedroom where Masaila was still sleeping. But before Nana could chase after her, the sight of something outside stopped her in her tracks. To Nana's horror, large flames were spewing out of the apartment complex next door. Worse yet, the blaze was quickly spreading toward her own unit. Before she could even think, the fire had now reached her apartment complex and was growing rapidly. With only moments to spare, Nana rushed upstairs to save Sasha and Masaila. When she reached the bedroom, Nana was stunned at what she found. Not only was Sasha completely calm in the face of such great danger, but she was trying to save Masaila as well. Gripping the infant by her diaper, Sasha had managed to pull Masaila out of her crib and was carefully trying to drag her out of the room. Nana grabbed Sasha and the baby and dashed out of the apartment. As soon as Nana and her family had safely left the building, she called 911. The fire department arrived within minutes, and after rescuing the remaining tenants in the apartment complex, they began fighting the massive fire. It took several hours for firefighters to completely extinguish the blaze, but when the smoke finally cleared, the tenants were relieved to find that many of the units hadn't suffered severe damage. However, the same couldn't be said for Nana. Because Nana's apartment had been so close to the initial fire, her entire unit, and everything in it, was destroyed. With their home and their possessions lost, Nana and her family were forced to move in with her aunt. But that's not all. Nana's aunt's apartment building didn't allow pets, so Sasha had to be separated from Masaila and kept with another family member. Even though Nana brings Masaila to visit often, it's clear that Sasha really misses her best friend. Since the fire, a GoFundMe campaign was started in order to help Nana and her family rebuild their lives. They're still trying to pick up the pieces of what they once had, but Nana knows that without Sasha, she and Masaila wouldn't be here today. Without her, we probably would have never made it out, Nana said of her heroic dog. I owe Sasha my life, she saved us all. She is our hero.